And here too, these categories ascend toward divinity, or with equal accuracy descend from it, their power to submerge character and nullify time increasing as they go. Not only do the higher level public titles borne by human beings blend gradually into those borne by the gods, becoming all the apex identical with them, but at the level of the gods there is literally nothing left of identity but the title itself. All gods and goddesses are addressed and referred to either as Dewa, Devi, or for the higher ranking ones, Betara, Betari. In a few cases, these general appellations are followed by particularizing ones, Betara Guru, Devi Sri, and so forth. But even such specifically named divinities are not conceived as possessing distinctive personalities. They are merely thought to be administratively responsible, so to speak, for regulating certain matters of cosmic significance, fertility, power, knowledge, death, and so on. In most cases, Balinese do not know and do not want to know which gods and goddesses are those worshipped in their various temples. There are in always a pair, or one male, one female, but merely call them Dewa Dewi, Pura, such and such, God Goddess of temple such and such. Unlike the ancient Greeks and Romans, the average Balinese shows little interest in the detailed doings of particular gods, nor in their motivations, their personalities, or their individual stories, on their individual histories. The same circumspection and propriety is maintained with respect to such matters as is maintained with respect to similar matters concerning elders and superiors generally. The world of the gods is, in short, but another public realm, transcending all the others and imbued with an ethos which those others seek, so far as they are able to embody it in themselves. The concerns of this realm lie in the cosmic level rather than the political, the economic, or the ceremonial, that is, the human, and its stewards are men without features, individuals with respect to whom the usual indices of perishing humanity have no significance. The nearly faceless, thoroughly conventionalized, never changing icons by which nameless gods, known only by their public titles, are year after year represented in the thousands of temple festivals across the island, comprise the purest expression of the Balinese concept of personhood. Genuflecting to them, or more precisely to the gods for the moment residing in them, the Balinese are not just acknowledging divine power, they are also confronting the image of what they consider themselves as bottom to be, an image which the biological, psychological, and sociological concomitants of being alive, the mere materialities of historical time, tend only to obscure from sight. A cultural triangle of forces. There are many ways in which men are made aware, or rather make themselves aware, of the passage of time, by marking the changing of the seasons, the alterations of the moon, or the progress of plant life, by the measured cycle of rites, or agricultural work, or household activities, by the preparation and scheduling of projected acts, and the memory and assessment of accomplished ones, by the preservation of genealogies, the recital of legends, or the framing of prophecies. But surely among the most important is by the recognition in oneself and in one's fellow man of process of biological aging, the appearance, maturation, decay, and disappearance of concrete individuals. How one views this process affects, therefore, and affects profoundly how one experiences time. Between a people's conception of what it is to be a person and their conception of the structure of history, there is an unbreakable internal link. Now, as I have been stressing, the most striking thing about the culture patterns in which Balinese notions of personal identity are embodied is the degree to which they depict virtually everyone, friends, relatives, neighbors, and strangers, elders and youths, superiors and inferiors, men and women, chiefs, kings, priests, and gods, even the dead and the unborn, as stereotyped contemporaries, abstract and anonymous fellow men. Each of the symbolic orders of person definition, from concealed names to fraudulent titles, act to stress and strengthen the standardization, idealization, and generalization implicit in the relation between individuals whose main connection consists in the accident of their being alive at the same time, and to mood or gloss over those implicit in the relation between consociates, men intimately involved in one another's biographies, or between predecessors and successors, men who stand to one another as blind testator and unwitting heir. Of course, people in Bali are directly and sometimes deeply involved in one another's lives. They do feel the world to have been shaped by the actions of those who came before them, and orient their actions towards shaping the world of those who will come after them. But it is not these aspects of their existence as persons, their immediacy and individuality, or their special, never to be repeated impact upon the stream of historical events which are culturally played up, symbolically emphasized. It is their social placement, their particular location within a persisting, indeed, an eternal metaphysical order. The illuminating paradox of Balinese formulations of personhood is that they are, in our terms anyway, depersonalizing. In this way, the Balinese blend, though of course they cannot efface three of the most important sources of a sense of temporality, the apprehension of one's comrades, and thus oneself with them as perpetually perishing, the awareness of the heaviness with which the completed lives of the dead weigh upon the completed lives of the living, and the appreciation of the potential impact upon the unborn of actions just now being undertaken. Consociate as they meet, confront and grasp one another in an immediate present, a synaptic now, and in so doing they experience the elusiveness and ephemerality of such a now as it slips by in the ongoing stream of face-to-face interaction. For each partner in a consociate relationship, the other's body, his gestures, his gait, and facial expressions are immediately observable, not merely as things or events of the outer world, but in their physiognomical significance, that is, as expressions of the other's thoughts. Each partner participates in the unrolling life of the other, can grasp in a vivid presence of the other's thoughts, and they are built up step by step. They may thus share one another's anticipations of the future as plans or hopes or anxieties. They are mutually involved in one another's biography. They are growing older together. As for predecessors and successors, separated by a material gulf, they perceive one another in terms of origin and outcomes, and in so doing experience the inherent chronologically of events, the linear progress of standard transpersonal time, the source whose passage can be measured with clocks and calendars. In minimizing culturally all three of these experiences, that of the evanescing present consociate intimacy evokes, that of the determining past contemplation of the predecessors evokes, and that of the moldable future anticipation of successors evokes, in favor of the sense of pure simultaneity generated by the anonymized encounter of sheer contemporaries. The Balinists produce yet a second paradox, linked to their despersonalizing conception of personhood, is a detemporalizing, again from our point of view, conception of time. Taxonomic calendar and punctual time. Taxonomic calendars and punctual time. Balinese calendrical notion, their cultural machinery for demarcation temporal units reflect this clearly, for they are largely used to not to measure the elapse of time, nor yet the accent, the uniqueness and irrecoverability of the passing moment, but to mark and classify the qualitative modalities in terms of which time manifests itself in human experience. The Balinese calendar, or rather calendars, as we shall see, there are two of them, cuts time upon into bounded units, nor in order to count and total them, but to describe and characterize them, to formulate their differential social, intellectual, and religious significance. The two calendars which the Balinese employ are a lunar solar one, and one built around the interaction of independent cycles of day names, which I shall call permutational. The permutational calendar is far the most important. It consists of 10 different cycles of day names. These cycles are of varying lengths. The longest contains 10 day names following one another in a fixed order, after which the first day name reappears in the cycle starts over. Similarly, there are 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and even the ultimate of a contemporarized view of time, one day name cycles. The names in each cycle are also different, and the cycles run concurrently. That is to say, any given day has, at least in theory, 10 different names simultaneously applied to it. one from each of the 10 cycles. Of the 10 cycles, only those containing 5, 6, and 7-day names are of major cultural significance. However, although the 3-name cycle is used to define the market week and plays a role in fixing certain minor rituals, such as the personal name ceremony referred to earlier. Now the interaction of these 3 main cycles, the 5, the 6, and the 7, means that a given trinomially designated day, that is one with a particular combination of names from all 3 cycles, will appear only in every 210 days. The simple product of 5, 6, and 7, similar interactions between the 5 and 7 name cycles produced binomially designated days, which turn up every 35 days, between 6 and 7 name cycles, binomially designated days, which occur every 42 days, and between the 5 and 6 name cycles, binomially designated days appearing at 30 days intervals. The conjunctions that each of these 4 periodicities, supercycles as it were defined, but not the periodicities themselves, are considered not only to be as socially significant, but to reflect, in one fashion or another, the very structure of reality. The outcome of all these wheels within wheels computation is a view of time as consisting of ordered sets of 30, 35, 42, or 210 quantum units days, each of which units has a particular qualitative significance of some sort, indexed by its trinomial or binomial name, rather like our notion of the unluckiness of Friday the 13th. To identify a day in the 42-day set and thus assess its practical and or religious significance, one needs to determine its place, that is, its name, and the 6 name cycle, say Aryan, and in the 7, say Bodha. The day is Bodha Aryan, and one shapes one's actions accordingly. To identify a day in the 35-day set, one needs its place and name in the 5-name cycle, for example, Cleon, and in the 7, for example, Bodha Cleon. This is Rainan, the day on which one must set out small offerings at various points to feed the gods. For the 210-day set, unique determination demands names from all 3 weeks. For example, Bodha Aryan Cleon, which it so happens is the day on which the most important Balinese holiday, Gulungan, is celebrated. Details aside, the nature of time reckoning this sort of calendar facilitates is clearly not durational but punctual. That is, it is not used and could only with much awkwardness and the addition of some ancillary devices be used to measure the rate at which time passes, the amount which has passed since the occurrence of some event, or the amount which remains within which to complete some project. It is adapted to and used for distinguishing and classifying discrete, self-subsistent particles of time, days. The cycles and supercycles are endless, unanchored, uncountable, and as their internal order has no significance without climax, they do not accumulate, they do not build, and they are not consumed. They don't tell you what time it is, they tell you what kind of time it is.